You think life is going to hand you success? You think you can just show up and things will magically work out? Let me tell you something. You are the problem and you are the solution. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to drag you to the gym, force you to wake up early. Nobody's coming. Read that again. Let it sink in. Nobody is coming to wake you up in the morning. Nobody is coming to make you get off the couch. Nobody is coming to pull you out of the pit you've been sitting in for years. You're waiting for a sign, for the right moment, for someone to give you a hand, and that's exactly why you're stuck. People love the idea that someday, somehow, something will change. They wait for inspiration to strike, for motivation to kick in, for a mentor to appear and push them forward. But guess what? That day is never coming. You can sit there and hope all you want, but nothing is going to happen until you decide to make it happen. You have a problem? Good, handle it. Stop waiting for someone to fix it for you. No one's going to knock on your door and say, hey, I see you're struggling. Let me make life easier for you. That's not reality. The world doesn't owe you a damn thing. You either take control or you stay exactly where you are. Look around. How many people do you know who complain about their situation every single day? They hate their job. They're out of shape. They're broke. But what do? Nothing. They just keep talking about it, waiting for something outside of themselves to change. And you know what happens? Years go by, and they're in the same spot, only now they've got more regrets, more pain, and less time. Nobody's coming to drag you to the gym when you don't feel like going. Nobody's coming to force you to study, to train, to get up early. It's on you. You think successful people have some magical formula? No. They just realized early on that nobody was going to do it for them. They stopped waiting and they started working. You keep waiting for things to be fair. Guess what? Life isn't fair. Some people are born into wealth. Some people have connections. Some people have an easier path. And what, you're just going to sit there and cry about it? That won't change a damn thing. The only thing that changes your situation is effort. Relentless, disciplined, the people you admire, the ones who have built incredible lives, they weren't given that life. They took it. They showed up when no one was watching. They put in the hours, the sweat, the pain, while others were making excuses. They were making moves. You want to know why you're not where you want to be? Because deep down, you're still waiting. You haven't fully accepted that it's all on you. You haven't looked yourself in the mirror and admitted that every failure, every setback, every excuse, it's all your responsibility. And until you do that, nothing will change. So what's the plan? Are you going to keep sitting there, hoping, waiting, making excuses? Or are you going to get up and do something about it? No one is coming. It's just you versus you. The sooner you accept that, the sooner your life will start to change. Pain is the gateway. Suffering is the toll. If you want to be great, you have to go through it. Not around it, not away from it, straight through it. That's the price of strength, the cost of discipline, the tax on becoming someone who doesn't break when life applies pressure. Most people spend their entire lives running from pain. They avoid discomfort at all costs. They want the rewards without the work, the transformation without the struggle. That's why they stay the same. They quit when it gets hard. They tap out when it starts to hurt. And then they wonder why nothing changes. You want to be stronger? You want to be sharper? Then you have to lean into the suffering. You have to make pain your ally. When it hurts, when it burns, when every part of you is screaming to stop, that's the exact moment you need to keep pushing. That's the moment where 99% of people back off. But if you keep going, if you learn to love that place, you separate yourself from the weak. Most people don't lack talent. They don't lack potential. They lack the ability to suffer. They want easy roads, shortcuts, and guarantees. They want results with no sacrifice. But life doesn't work that way. The strongest, the sharpest, the ones who actually make something of themselves, those are the ones who embrace the suffering. Think about the times in your life when you grew the most. Was it when things were easy? Was it when you were comfortable? No. It was when life kicked you in the teeth, when you were broken, exhausted, full of doubt, but you kept moving. That's when you became something more. That's when you built resilience, mental toughness, grit. You don't get stronger by avoiding pain. You get stronger by going through it, by standing in the fire and refusing to break, by teaching yourself that no matter how hard it gets, you're not stopping. That's how you build a mindset that can't be touched. Suffering is not the enemy. Weakness is. And weakness comes from comfort, from choosing the easy way, the safe route, the path of least resistance. Every time you run from pain, you stay the same. Every time you avoid suffering, you cheat yourself out of growth. So stop looking for the easy way. Stop searching for hacks and shortcuts. The only way is through. The only way to be great is to embrace the suffering, to seek out the discomfort, to push yourself into the fire again and again until you become unbreakable. Motivation is a liar. It shows up when it wants, disappears when you need it most, and leaves you stranded in the middle of your excuses. You think motivation is going to save you? You think it's going to carry you through the hard days? Let me tell you something. Motivation is weak, it's fragile, it's unreliable. The people who rely on it are the same people who quit when things get tough. You wake up one day feeling inspired, ready to attack the world. You hit the gym, you work on your goals, you tell yourself, this is it, this is the time I finally change. But then what happens? A week later, maybe two, life punches you in the face. You're tired, you're sore, you don't feel like doing it anymore. And guess what? That motivation you were counting on is nowhere to be found. This is where most people fail. They think they need to feel good to take action. They think they need some magical spark before they move. And that's exactly why they stay stuck. Because feelings are unreliable. Because motivation is just an emotional high that fades the moment things get inconvenient. You want real results? Stop chasing motivation. Start building discipline. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline doesn't ask if you're tired. Discipline doesn't negotiate with excuses. It just gets the job done. Discipline is waking up at 4 a.m. when your body wants to sleep. It's going to the gym when you don't feel like it. It's sticking to the diet when temptation is everywhere. It's putting in the hours when no one is watching. Discipline is consistency, and consistency is the foundation of success. Look at the greats, the ones who rise above, the ones who dominate in their field. You think they got there by being motivated every day? No. They got there because they built discipline, because they trained themselves to show up no matter what. That's the difference. Average people move when they feel like it. Disciplined people move regardless. Average people give up when it gets uncomfortable. Disciplined people embrace the discomfort and keep pushing. Average people make excuses. Disciplined people find a way. You have a choice. You can keep hoping that motivation will magically show up and carry you forward, or you can stop waiting and start building the discipline that will change your life. Because motivation fades, but discipline stays. Discipline wins. Your mind is weak because you've never put it through the fire. You break under pressure. You quit when it gets hard. You give yourself an out every time discomfort shows up. That's the problem. That's why you're stuck. Your mind is soft, fragile, because you've never forced it to toughen up. You ever notice how your hands get rough when you work with them? You lift weights, you build something with your bare hands, and over time, calluses form. Those calluses protect you. They make you stronger. Your skin stops ripping, stops bleeding. What used to hurt doesn't hurt anymore. The same rule applies to your mind. Right now, your mind is soft because you've been living soft. You avoid suffering. You avoid struggle. Every time things get hard, you back down. You take the easy road. And every time you do that, you train yourself to be weak. You're reinforcing the habit of quitting. But here's the truth. Your mind can be calloused just like your hands. You can train it to withstand pain, to endure suffering, to push through things that used to break you. But it doesn't happen by accident. It happens by putting yourself through hell on purpose. It happens by making yourself do the things you don't want to do, by forcing yourself into situations where you have no choice but to adapt. You don't get mentally tough by sitting in comfort. You don't build resilience by avoiding pain. You have to seek it. You have to go where it hurts. You have to throw yourself into the fire again and again until your mind stops flinching, until struggle doesn't shake you anymore, until hardship becomes just another part of the process. Every time you push through pain, every time you suffer and refuse to quit, your mind gets stronger. Every time you wake up and do the work, even when you don't feel like it, you're reinforcing mental toughness. Every time you face something that should break you and keep going anyway, you're adding another layer of callous. People want to be strong, but they don't want to suffer. They want mental toughness without the struggle. It doesn't work like that. You want to build an unbreakable mind? Then you have to break it first. You have to take it to the edge, push it beyond what it thinks it can handle, and force it to adapt. That's the only way. Most people will never do this. They'll keep avoiding discomfort. They'll keep running from pain, and they'll stay weak. But if you're tired of being fragile, if you're tired of breaking under pressure, then stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Start putting in the work to callous your mind. Everyone wants the glory, but no one wants the grind. Everyone wants the success, but no one wants to suffer for it. You see people posting their wins, flaunting their achievements, standing at the top of the mountain, and you think, I want that. But what you don't see is the part that actually matters. The hours of work when no one was watching. The sacrifices, the late nights, the early mornings, the pain, the discipline, the suffering. That's what built them. That's what separates the winners from the ones still making excuses. Most people will only work hard when there's an audience, when someone's watching, when there's validation, when there's applause. They show up when it looks good, when it feels good. But when the cameras are off, when the motivation fades, they disappear. They don't have the discipline to keep grinding in silence. That's why they never make it. That's why they never level up. Because they only give effort when there's a reward attached. You want to be different? You want to actually change? Then stop waiting for approval. Stop waiting for someone to pat you on the back. Put in the work when nobody cares, when there's no applause, when there's no spotlight. That's the real test. It's easy to push when people are watching. It's easy to grind when there's praise. But what about when you're alone? What about when no one is checking on you? That's where champions are made. That's where you either prove you're serious or prove you're just another talker. The work you do in the dark is what determines who you are in the light. The extra reps, the late nights studying, the early mornings running when the world is asleep, the sacrifices you make that no one will ever know about. That's what builds greatness. Not the stuff people see, but the work they don't. Every successful person has one thing in common. They did the work long before anyone knew their name. The athlete who trains when the gym is empty. The entrepreneur who grinds while everyone else is partying. The artist who puts in the hours before anyone cares about their work. That's the truth nobody wants to hear. There is no shortcut, just relentless effort when no one is looking. People say they want it, but they don't. They want the results, not the process. They want the rewards, not the sacrifice. They want to be known as great, but they don't want to do what it takes to be great. And that's why most of them will never get there, because they won't work when no one is watching. Discipline is what separates you from them. Showing up every day, whether you feel like it or not. Grinding in silence. Pushing yourself when there's no one to impress. That's what makes you unstoppable. That's what turns you into someone people will eventually admire. But only if you're willing to do the work when no one's watching. Every single day you have a choice. Grow or stay exactly where you are. There is no in-between. There is no standing still. You're either getting better or you're getting left behind. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. They want to believe they can just coast, stay comfortable, keep doing the same things, and somehow life will reward them. But life doesn't work that way. If you're not evolving, you're rotting. If you're not moving forward, you're already falling behind. Look at where you are right now. Look at your habits, your mindset, your work ethic. Is this the level you want to stay at for the rest of your life? If the answer is no, then you have one job. Evolve, get better, get stronger, get sharper. Because if you don't, nothing changes. You'll keep waking up to the same problems, the same struggles, the same excuses, the same regrets. Evolution isn't a luxury. It's survival. The world doesn't wait for you. It doesn't slow down just because you're tired, because you're unsure, because you don't feel like putting in the effort. You either adapt or you get crushed. You either grow or you watch everyone else pass you by. Most people never evolve because they're afraid of what it takes. Growth requires discomfort. It requires pushing past your limits, challenging everything you thought you knew, stepping into the fire and staying there until you come out stronger. But most people don't want that. They want easy. They want comfortable. They want to wake up one day and magically be better without the suffering that comes with it. You can't stay the same and expect different results. You can't keep making excuses and expect life to reward you. You can't hold on to the same weak mindset, the same bad habits, the same lazy routine, and think you're going to win. It doesn't work like that. Every single day is a test. Every single day is a chance to get better or stay the same. You don't need permission. You don't need motivation. You just need to decide. Will you push yourself? Will you suffer for it? Will you embrace the discomfort of evolution? Or will you choose the easy way out? The ones who evolve are the ones who refuse to stay the same. They wake up and put in the work, not because they feel like it, but because they know the alternative is failure. They know that staying the same means wasting their potential. And wasting potential is the worst kind of regret. There is no secret, no shortcut, no hack, just a simple truth. Evolve or stay exactly where you are. At the end of the day, everything comes down to a choice. Your choice. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to do the work for you. You either embrace the suffering, callous your mind, and push forward with discipline, or you stay exactly where you are, making the same excuses, living the same life. Success doesn't happen in front of an audience. It's built in the dark when no one's watching, when there's no applause, no recognition, no validation. Just you, there's you. The only way to break free is to evolve, to step up, to push through pain, to stop waiting and start doing. This isn't about talent. This isn't about luck. This is about who's willing to suffer for it. Who's willing to show up day after day, no matter what. Who's willing to put in the work when it's hard, when it's lonely, when there's nothing but doubt and struggle, that's the real test.